guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be talking about a topic that I don't really feel has been spoken about in terms of this topic and then doing OnlyFans and sex work in general with it, which is why I wanted to do this video. If you've read the title, you'll probably realise that I will be talking about mental health. Now, mental health is no joke. I have battled my own demons. I still battle my own demons, and I feel like it's really important to talk about this topic when it comes to OnlyFans. So before I get started, I just want to say that I am somebody who suffers from mental health. I'm going to tell you about my story because I feel like it's really important for me to tell you, so that you know that I'm not just somebody coming on the internet and saying, oh, I suffer from this and this, when really I don't. I you know, I have had my own struggles, I've had my own demons, and I just want to prove that, you know, you can come out the other side of it. So, you know, if this can just help one person, then I've done my job. So hopefully this can help somebody. So my story is a little long. This probably will be a long video, so grab your popcorn, grab your cheeseburgers, grab your whatever you're eating, and let's get into it. So I suffer from anxiety and depression quite badly. So this started when I was 10 years old. Looking back now, I can kind of realise like all of my trigger points and what triggered it and all of that. So when I was 10 years old, I was already going through some stuff. So my dad decided to divorce my mum when I was 2, but I always had regular contact with him up until I was 10 years old. He basically left me standing at an airport because he had moved away to Scotland, so he was basically coming down for the weekend to stay over. I was so excited. I remember this whole entire situation. Like I can visualize myself at the airport standing at the gate, like the security gate that you go through, like after you've grabbed all your bags and that. And he was staying over for the weekend, which was rare because he would only come down for like sort of the day to see me, and then he would go back to Scotland. Obviously it's quite a long drive, and he basically didn't show up, and I had no phone calls, nothing. I was 10 years old, standing waiting for him, and I had literally no phone calls. We tried to get a hold of him, couldn't get a hold of him, so we left, and then in the end he made up some bullshit excuse basically, and that was that. I didn't have contact with him after that. So that for me was like my trigger point to my overeating and my binge eating and my comfort eating, which pretty much triggered everything else. So it triggered like my anxiety, my depression, all of that. And looking back now, I can see my trigger points, whereas when this was all happening, I had obviously no idea that this was all happening. It was kind of like a pot that was just ready to spill at a certain point. So, you know, I was 10 years old, and then I was also moving schools. So in England, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in England you have your first school, which is like your little school, and then you have your biggest school, which is like when you're a teenager and you switch schools. And that for me scared the life out of me. I remember going through like so much anxiety about having to move schools. It was a bigger school, it was people that I didn't know, and this was when all of my anxiety started. I started to gain weight. I was actually always a skinny kid up until the age of 10. Nobody in my family thought I was going to be like a big girl. Like I was skinny. So this was when I was like piling on about, like I was eating behind my mum's back. I was, you know, I was just eating and eating and eating, comfort eating, because I was so down about my dad. So I was overeating at this point, and I was about to go into a new school, which meant that I was extremely nervous, anxious. I could feel it sort of all brewing inside me. I was so scared, but I just thought that was normal, like going into a new situation as such a young person. Those were normal feelings. So I didn't think anything of it, and then I started year 7, and I just couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't do it. And I think this is when my like depression really started as well. I didn't want to get up for school. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. Like, I didn't want to leave my room. My room was like the only place that I would be. Like, I wouldn't even go downstairs to eat my dinner. I would literally, everything would happen in my room. My door would be shut. I wouldn't leave. Like, even to go to like a shop, even to just get into the car, it all became way too much. I ended up dropping out of school. At one point I was going to be homeschooled. I was for a couple of months, but even that I struggled with. I struggled with being downstairs in my own home. At one point they wanted me to move to like a library, to study at a library, so that it was getting me out of the house. Even that I couldn't do, you know, I just couldn't do it. I shut down emotionally. And my mum took me to the doctors, who referred me to like a therapy person who helps with like this sort of thing. At that point though, I was just so shut down, and to be honest, I don't really feel like that would have helped me. I was having panic attacks left, right and centre. Like, if you've ever had a panic attack, you will know how much it takes out of you. Like, a really bad panic attack would literally wipe me out. Like, I would be so emotionally drained. I would be so tired after. And I was having like 5 to 6 of these a day, and they were long panic attacks. They weren't like a normal like 10-second, 15-second panic attack. They were long, like minutes and minutes. And after that I would be like completely wiped out, and then I'd be super tired after, and then all of a sudden another one would happen. And there was no trigger point for my panic attacks. Like, I could have literally been sat in bed and one would just hit me, just so randomly. So this is why I feel like therapy didn't really help me, because at this point it wasn't because I was anxious or depressed. I was really down because of my panic attacks that kept happening. Kept feeling like I was gonna die. I kept saying that I was gonna die, and all of this. So I then was prescribed like some medication, which helped. I'm someone who, I don't really like to use medication that much, and I definitely don't promote medication in, you know, as a thing to help you. It's there if needed and can be prescribed by your doctor, but obviously see a doctor. But for me, these worked amazingly, absolutely amazingly. And they really helped with my mental health. I was still slightly depressed, but like my anxiety and my panic attacks were starting to go. I was able to get out of the house. I was able to work a normal job. I was able to live normal, like a normal life. I would still get panic attacks every now and then. My depression actually then started to stem from me being overweight. So that was then my next kind of hurdle that I had to go through. And to be honest with you, my depression for that, I think this job has actually helped me. It's crazy to say that. This job has actually helped me to love my body the way that I love it now. I have no problems with my body whatsoever. I like food, I like to eat, I like to, you know, sometimes I like to comfort eat. Sometimes I will sit in bed and I will eat a huge tub of ice cream and not even feel guilty about it. That's just me as a person. That's something that I've had to learn to deal with, and this job has really helped me with that. Now, at one point I had to go back to the doctors because with like antidepressants, they tend to put you on like a review, they call it, so that it's basically you have to go back and just make sure that you're okay, that you're still taking your medication, and that you're not getting any more like symptoms, nothing's getting worse and everything's getting better, sort of thing. So I saw a doctor that I had never seen before, and I have no problem with that. I mean I tend to like stick with my normal doctor, but my normal doctor was on holiday for 2 weeks. It is what it is, it happens. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll see another doctor. This doctor as soon as I got in there, she was like, oh, I see that you've been on your medication since like you were really, really young. How do you feel about coming off of it? And I was just like, I thought this was something that I was on for life because of how severe my panic attacks was. And basically she decided that it would be best to potentially try cutting down my doses and eventually weaning me off of my medication. She basically said that it shouldn't have been like a long-term thing and blah 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 blah. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever, here we go, I'm gonna have a freaking mental breakdown, but we'll try it. So I tried it, and for 12 weeks I was actually fine. I took smaller doses of my medication, was absolutely fine for 12 weeks. Bearing in mind that I had a normal job at this point, so I was working not 9 till 5, but like normal hours, like 8-hour shifts. I was working in a restaurant. All of a sudden, that shit hit me in the middle of my shift when I was working as a waitress. When I tell you I had a fucking breakdown, I had a breakdown then and there on the floor in front of everybody. Like, my breakdown was bad. My breakdown was bad, and my boss literally didn't give a fuck. Didn't give a fuck. So I grabbed my shit and I left. And I felt like such a failure at that point, and this is when my depression started to come back really, really badly, obviously because I wasn't on my medication. So getting an appointment with my doctor was really, really hard because my doctor's surgery is like impossible to get appointments for. Like, I have to wait like 2 weeks to get an appointment to see my doctor. So I scheduled an appointment for like, I think it was like in a week and a half. But in between this, obviously I wasn't still taking my medication because I didn't have any medication. That's why I had gone to the doctor in the first place, to go and get more medication. And I remember having like really weird thoughts that I was so angry. Like, I had visions of me picking somebody up by the throat and chucking them through a glass window. And I remember being like, I can't tell the doctor that because she's going to put me in a psych ward. Like, I can't tell my doctor that. But in the end I had to. I remember going to the doctors and being like, listen, all of this has happened, you know, I was taken off my medication. And first of all, my doctor was gobsmacked that I was taken off my medication because it was meant to be a long-term thing anyway. It had been decided that it was going to be a long-term thing because of how bad my panic attacks were, and my depression and all of that stuff. So it was always going to be a long-term thing. Like, I'm on that for life. So there was no reason for this doctor to have taken me off in the first place. When I was so scared to tell her, like, that I was so angry. Like, my moods were weird. Like, one minute I was fine, and the next minute I was so angry. Like, I could have killed somebody. Like, I literally felt like I could have killed somebody. It was awful. And I remember telling her that, and I remember crying and being like, please don't send me to like psych ward because I don't want to go there. And, you know, she was so good, bless her. She said to me like, no, it's totally normal, you know, you've been taken off of medication that you need long term. This is your body trying to adjust and figure out what the hell is going on, basically. So I was put back on them, and ever since then I have been on my medication. I have done really, really, really well. Now, the reason why I wanted to tell you this story was because I just wanted to give some people some hope that with anxiety and depression and mental health in general, I mean, I know there's so many different types of mental health issues out there, but for me, you know, I overcome a lot, especially as somebody who was really young to have got that at 10 years old. It was very, very hard. It set me back quite a lot on my life as like a child, because I didn't want to go outside and play with all of my friends. I didn't want to mingle with anyone. I didn't want to talk to any friends. I was very much in my room and that was it. So I just want people to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't have to be medication, it can be therapy. You know, whatever works for you, works for you. But now I want to get on to working with Onlyfans, in terms of working with Onlyfans when you have some sort of mental health issue. So even now to this day, I still suffer from panic attacks. Really random. I got one last week. I was literally laying in bed watching The Grinch, you know, the animation version, the newest one that's come out. I was literally in bed eating some food, watching that. I had a panic attack. Now, bearing in mind that these weren't that bad, they were like a 10-second panic attack, and it was just like a, you know, when your heart kind of feels like it's racing, like really racing, you can kind of feel it in your throat. It was that, and I literally remember after it being like, what the fuck was that? Like, why do you need to creep up now all of a sudden? I am chilling in bed. So, you know, they do still affect me even to this day. I don't get them anywhere near as much as what I used to. I'm very lucky in the fact that I probably will get one like once every couple of months, if that. And that's all down to my medication that I'm on. I do still suffer with depression sometimes. This is something that again has got better for me, like so much better for me. Like I said, a lot of my depression was to do with like my weight and my anxiety and all of that, so it all kind of just bundled into one and merged into one kind of thing. So for me, I do still sometimes get depression. I feel like it just randomly happens sometimes. So for instance, last week I had to take a whole week off of Onlyfans because I was going through some shit with family. And long story short, I cut all of my family out except from my mum. And for me, like at first, I mean, this happened literally in the early summer, so it's been quite a while, but Christmas has come around and it's kind of affected me slightly. And I just remember being like, I don't want to get out of bed. And whenever I do get like that, and I do still sometimes get like that, usually it doesn't last very long, it usually lasts like a day or so, and I kind of pick myself up and I just get on with my life. You know, I tend, whenever this happens, I tend to just take time off, the time off that I need. So if it's like a day or so, I'll take like 2 to 3 days off just to make sure that I am totally okay. This time I had to take a whole entire week off because I was just not feeling it. I was literally not feeling getting out of bed. Between bed and my sofa, that's where I was. I didn't want to record, I didn't want to talk to anyone, and that's absolutely fine. I feel like so many people who suffer with mental health are so scared to take time off, the time off that they need, because they don't want to lose their fans, basically. They don't want to lose money. And obviously the reason why we're doing this is because money. So this is what I'm going to say. Your health is so much more important than money. And I know that's so easy to say. However, it is. It's so much more important than money. Any guy that will unsubscribe to you because of that does not deserve to see you, your content, or talk to you in general, okay? I am somebody who is very open. If I am not well or if I am going through some shit, I will always put up a post on my OnlyFans page to be like, hey guys, I'm not feeling great, gonna take however long off, and blah 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 blah. My guys are absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. When I spoke to all of my guys about it, I spoke to them very openly about what I was going through, and the love that I got was absolutely astonishing. I was really shocked. You know, be open with your fans because you are human, and it's actually nice for them to be able to see that you are human, you are a vulnerable person. You're not just somebody who produces nude content and that is it. And, you know, if they don't respect that, then they don't respect that, off they go. When you lose a customer, there is always more customers to gain, okay? I always say this to anybody, you know, there is so many customers out there that you can replace a lost customer very easily. You just have to work at it and you have to market yourself properly to be able to gain that customer. Now, one thing that I do think is important is that you have a whole bunch of files uploaded to your laptop or something like that, that are basically backup files. And these are great for whatever, you know, if you're sick, if you're on your period, if you are going through mental health issues, if you are going on holiday. I have like 20 files backed up that are like my emergency files basically. And basically all I done was scheduled them to go out throughout the week, and that was it. It appeared like I was active even though I was in bed curled up in a ball crying to myself. And you know, nobody, I mean obviously everybody knew because I told them, but you know, guys were still happy that they get to see their content. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, mental health is such a serious thing that if you need to take time off, you need to take time off, because otherwise it will grind at you, it will irritate you, it will get worse and worse and worse. And I've been in that situation where I have worked a normal job, and you know, I was getting like one day off a week, and it takes its toll on you, and it takes its toll on your mental health. So if you need to take a mental health break, take a fucking mental health break. Like seriously, please take one, regardless of whether it's a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks. Take a break and just let everybody know that you need to just take some time. If you don't have any customers, you don't have any customers left. You just start again. The thing is with mental health as well, is that it always shows through content. So if you are down, you're obviously not going to put a lot of effort into your content, and that always shows. And again, you don't want that to affect your business. So if you need to take your time out, take your time out. I think that's all I want to touch up on. I just wanted you guys to know that, oh, another thing. If you are somebody who is currently going through either like the start of depression, or you're in like that middle bit where life is really, really bad and you hate everyone and, you know, it's not good, please do not do this job. And I do not mean that in a disrespectful way. You will receive a lot of hate from this job. You will be called numerous names, you will be told that you are not worth living, you will be told just a whole bunch of shit, basically. And as somebody who would be very vulnerable at that point, it will destroy you. And had I of done this when I was like 23 going through my breakdown, yeah, this would have been a very different situation, because if anybody at that point had called me fat, I probably would have done some serious shit. Like it would have really, really affected me in a really bad way. So I feel like if you are currently going through some shit, you're really, really struggling, just take time out to focus on you. Don't worry about doing Onlyfans right now, because you know, people will talk shit and it can affect you in a negative way. It might not, it might go the opposite way for you. It might be that, you know, it doesn't really bother you. But I know for me, if I was going through my breakdown that I was going through, and then I received a whole bunch of hate from doing OnlyFans, it would have ruined me, basically. So the moral of the story is, only do OnlyFans if you feel strong enough. If you are going through some shit right now, please don't do it. My inbox to my Instagram is always open. So if anybody ever wants to message me, and this goes for anything, it doesn't have to be about like mental health or anything like that. I have been working on my Instagram, even though I hate Instagram and Facebook. We all know my feelings about them. But I have been working on it so that you guys can message me on there, because I don't for some reason get YouTube messages quite a lot. Like some of my comments disappear, and I don't know why. I'm not a technical genius, but I have been on my Instagram trying to get a whole bunch of girls on there and stuff. If you guys want to message me on there, please, 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 before you write to me, like before you type your message out, please put in capital letters help, because I am getting so many spam messages right now from OnlyFans promotion accounts, random guys that are weird as fuck, sugar daddies that are fake, the whole lot. Okay, so in order for me to be able to like see your message and actually be able to help you, please just put help in capital letters so that I can look at your message and be like, okay, this ain't some random fake weird ass person, this is somebody that actually wants to talk to me. So with that being said, hopefully I've helped you guys. I just wanted to give you a bit of a backstory on my story, let you guys know that you can come through it. You know, you just have to go with it. Seek help if you need help. Please seek it. The doctors are there for a reason. And you know, if you are somebody who is going through mental health with OnlyFans, don't be afraid to take time off. Don't be afraid to talk about it. You know, you've got this. You have got this. I know it's hard. We all go through that, through our shit days. And if you feel like you can't create content at some point, don't create content. If somebody has paid for content, just let them know. Another thing that I like to do, actually, just before I end this, is in my bio, I like to say that uploads will, like custom content, will be created within 24 to 48 hours. The reason that I do this is just in case something happens, it gives me sort of 48 hours to be able to be like, okay, listen, I'm not going to be able to create your content, or I am going to be able to create your content. So always make sure that you have like a solid time frame. Just kind of sometimes buys you some more time as well if you're feeling down. So yeah, hopefully, you know, you guys are all doing well. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all the support that you give me. It's amazing. I definitely did not expect this. We are on 400 subscribers right now, and it's insane. It's insane. I definitely didn't expect that. So let me know, guys, if you need any more help, anything, message me, hit me up. I love you all so much. See you soon.